we're working. We're in the lab, and we're gonna make sure this happens as soon as possible.
Welcome to an episode of the Sports Genes Into the Lab podcast, where sports analysts and experts dissect the latest news from the NBA and NFL, giving you a unique view on some of the hottest topics around your favorite teams. From the fresh field smells of the NFL to the hardwood courts of the NBA, and possibly your comfy couch for your fantasy football team. Let's see what kind of news the lab is working with today. Here's your host from the Sports Analytics Headquarters in San Antonio, Texas, Ernest Silva.
Welcome back into another great episode here in San Antonio, Texas. I'm your host, Ernest Doc E. Silva with the Into the Lab podcast. Excited to be back with another April edition of this show. I'm very excited to have the crew here. It's nice to see four guys on screen. We're definitely going to be debating today quite a bit of things. Drinker Ovaltine is here, as well as two other folks. But let's go around the room and let everybody do the introduction. Let's first start off with the co-host of this season. That's right, Kenny Cotterell. What's up, man?
I'm here. I'm ready to talk some sports, maybe some sports entertainment. We'll see where the night takes us.
Kenny, you look like you're hiding from somebody in that house. Are you okay?
No, I'm all right. My wife's downstairs, I swear. Alive, too. That should be noted.
I was worried for a moment. Good to see you as always, Kenny. And of course, making his return here again from the Boomtown Pod. That's right, Andrew Con Sutton. What's going on, brother?
Well, hello. Last time I was on here, had some Wi-Fi issues. Those have been resolved. We are good to go. I'm happy to be back.
So you're gonna go on record and say you did not just bail and take off on us because we were pissed we didn't call you. You had Wi-Fi issues, correct?
I was having massive Wi-Fi failure. But, you know, UConn.
Should have definitely done a poll.
Okay.
Well, glad to have you back, Andrew. You're going to be in the spotlight in just a second, so stick around. Let's go over to the Ovaltine man himself. That's right, just Luke. Luke, what's going on?
What is, I've seen a couple commercials today. What is the world we live in that we have to put bitterant on batteries in North America so people don't swallow them? Like, I thought the world was starting to fix itself after COVID.
No.
Apparently, it's just way worse now.
It's got worse,
we
dude.
went from eating Tide Pods to eating straight batteries. And I feel like there's a disconnect somewhere, but I digress. I don't know what to do. I can't fix everything. So, drink your Ovaltine, kids. And, yeah, I'm glad to be back.
So Luke, I just want to do the call out and shout out here. You have a new podcast, right, that you've been a regular on and featuring. What's that new podcast name?
Yeah. It's called It's All About the Ash. It's me, my brother, and our friend Corbin. We talk about everything local with our local cigar shop that my brother started here, West Virginia. We pretty much just talk about all cigars, all the stuff going around in the tri-state area to try to get people out and about and support local business, along with current sports and local events too. So it's just kind of like a mish-posh thing. We show up on Fridays, we talk for an hour and a half, and whatever gets posted, gets posted.
That is beautiful. Of course, that's just Luke. Go check out his new show, as well as check out his appearances on Blue Collar Cantina and, of course, the regular ITL. All right, guys, we're going to talk it out here, right? We are powered tonight by Blue Collar Media Group, powered by Blue Collar Media Group, the main sponsor of the show. And that takes us to our first segment, which I think a lot of you will be excited because it doesn't happen often.
Give me a hell yeah!
That is right. We are going WrestleMania segment, as promised. The Boomtown Minute. We're doing the Boomtown Minute. Andrew Con Sutton's going to lead this little brigade of conversation. So take it away, Andrew, what you've deemed the best WrestleMania in history.
Without a doubt, the greatest WrestleMania of all time. The hype, the build-up, the stage, the electricity, the fans. This was one event that I am happy I did not miss. I have this ongoing thing where I have literally watched every WrestleMania. It's just a tradition now for myself. So this was electric. The cards were great. Both nights were fantastic. I love what the WWE does with having 2 nights instead of just one long freaking 8-hour event that just drags through an entire evening where you don't know where anybody goes. But it was incredible. We had some great matches. Obviously, the headlining match between Cody Rhodes and Roman Reigns was absolutely incredible. It did not go the way the whole goddamn world wanted it to. Roman Reigns prevails once again. Here's the thing, folks. Roman Reigns is approaching 1,000 days as the Universal Champion, which is pretty incredible. It's a feat that hasn't been done in quite some time. So going back to Bruno Sammartino for all my old wrestling fans right there. So it was an incredible event. Fireworks, pyro. If you missed it, go watch the highlights. It was absolutely incredible. Rey Mysterio, the head of the WWE Hall of Fame. Everybody knows Little Ray Ray. We love Ray Ray. He was one of the greatest when we were growing up, for sure. Very cool entrance by him. I think that was a highlight for me. Coming out to Snoop Dogg's Gin and Juice, jamming out with Snoop Dogg driving the lowrider, and then Eddie Guerrero, the late Eddie Guerrero's theme song hit with the Viva La Raza, and the entire place just went absolutely nuts. So it was a very cool tribute to one of the greatest wrestlers who passed way, way too soon. So WrestleMania, if you missed it, absolutely unbelievable event. Do yourself a favor, go check out some of the highlights.
Was Snooki great? Is that not WrestleMania?
Yeah, well, Snooki, that was a while ago. It wasn't a great time for WWE. That was not a great time with Snooki. But Snoop Dogg, and I got to give one shout out. There was a segment that The Miz was supposed to take on Shane McMahon, and it was supposed to be the return of Shane O'Mac. And he's been off television for 3 years. He came into the ring. He went to go do a jump over The Miz and absolutely ruptured his quad. Like on the spot, ruptured it, completely blown. And you could tell immediately it wasn't good. And this was live, and it was awful. But Snoop Dogg, being the G that he is, completely went off script and decided, fuck it. I'm gonna sucker punch the Miz for ratings, and then I'm gonna give the people's elbow, but Snoop Dogg style. And I give him full credit because I couldn't imagine being in that situation, being like, oh shit, the guy who was supposed to do the segment on live TV just blew his quad. Like, what are we supposed to do? So credit to Snoop Dogg for being a professional in that moment. That was a very cool move.
What other celebrities made appearances during WrestleMania?
One and only number 85 from the San Francisco 49ers, George Kittle, made an appearance, which was kind of cool in a bit of a segment. Pat McAfee, yes, he made his return to wrestling. It was pretty cool. The Miz was throwing out an open challenge, or Snoop was, I guess. And Pat McAfee walked through the doors. It was a complete surprise to everybody that was kind of there. It was kind of last minute. McAfee obviously going through all the Brett Favre stuff. So this is probably a nice little relaxation for him. And then, of course, having the NFL tie-in with the WWE, we've seen Gronk do it now, right? We saw him a couple years back. Madcap Moss is actually a former football player himself. So yeah, it's just like, it's cool. Roman Reigns, also a former football player. So
I'm just waiting to see when Romo is going to be a commentator.
The which, sorry?
When Romo becomes a WrestleMania commentator. I can't wait.
He'll predict a torn quad. Yeah, you know what? I don't think it's going to go right there. That's
Kenny, you said this was the best WrestleMania. Well, Andrew said that. Do you agree this is the best WrestleMania ever?
Oh, I didn't watch. I just followed on Twitter. Looked pretty sick. I mean, I don't got time for 13 hours of wrestling or whatever it is. Like,
number one person.
I've been bronchitis all weekend. Do you think I was like, hey, do you want to watch this semi-scripted event? Which, by the way, I will say I took my wife to WWE when it was in Regina because she grew up a WWE fan. So it was great to be able to go to it live, but I don't have time for 2 full days of wrestling.
Oh my gosh.
I will say this because as being somebody who's watched a ton of it, I like that they only did 3 hours. It was 3 hours both nights. They were both time crunched. It fit in perfectly. They had the right amount of, and I know it's 6 hours, but hey, we watched 2 football games on a Sunday. It's the same goddamn thing. So, I mean, it was cool.
Yeah, but I don't know the predetermined outcome of those.
True.
Maybe.
But also,
let's not open up that can of worms. We're sitting in April right now. We got
I will say this
conspiracies before the season starts.
Other than the Cowboys in the conference semifinals, there's nothing else you can really predict.
I will say though, the only officiating worse than college basketball is WWE. So
1,000%.
Credit to them.
I just the one thing I'll end with is
This is
this.
a long minute.
Yeah,
It
sorry.
is.
Logan Paul was also at WrestleMania fighting Seth Rollins.
I almost
And
brought him up.
He had,
When you
without
went
a
through the
doubt,
prime bottle.
yeah, KSI came out in the prime bottle. It was pretty cool. But just for a moment, that's what it's about, though. It's entertaining. That's what he's supposed to do. That's what Logan Paul is all about. And you know what? He's fucking good in the ring, man. Like, he looks like he belongs there. He is very, very agile, very good at what he does. And
Luke,
he sells.
what did you think of WrestleMania?
I mean, I can't believe no one has mentioned it, especially you two. Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens was literally fired like 3 years ago.
And they
were in a match with
Canadian
Johnny
duo.
Knoxville last year. And then they just knocked off the best tag team in the world.
Ever. Yeah. I think the Usos are ever.
Well, I mean, to be fair, Luke, we could only mention 7 matches out of the 18 that took place. So
You're
it just
right.
didn't make
Yeah.
the top 7.
Right.
We only had a minute.
You're right. This
Sorry.
is probably
Sorry,
the first time I haven't watched WrestleMania in forever.
What are we
I
going on,
totally
11
forgot it
minutes
was
now? Tight
Minus
segment.
the
It's
intros.
Hey,
Real
it's
tight
IPL
segment.
it's
The minute's a
IPL
working
timing.
title. It's fine.
Let's
It's an IPL timing, Kenny.
let's
It's
move on
fine.
to a topic we can all talk about, right? Reese versus Clark. America, your racist is showing.
Oh God.
What a great segue.
Hey, can I open this one up, actually?
Yes. Go ahead, Kenny. You're
Okay.
perfect from a Canadian mindset.
I have no issue with Angel Reese talking smack. She deserved it. They knocked off probably the biggest player in the country in Caitlin Clark, who didn't have a lot of help from her teammates. Now, we also can't pretend that it was the same thing. I mean, Caitlin Clark did this not to LSU, but they justified it as a fellow SEC school, which last time I checked, SEC schools aren't exactly known for sticking up for their fellow team. And so we can't pretend like it's the same thing. Again, I got no issue with it. Shout out to them. They're going to get to go to the White House. Caitlin Clark isn't. She made great comments today where she said, we shouldn't go to the White House. Like, we got second. So she was very mature about the whole situation. This is just great for the women's game in general. I mean, this is just going to lead to more stars taking that next step to the WNBA, whether that be this year or next year. WNBA is already in a great spot. I talk about it all the time on my own show. WNBA League Pass is only $25. It's a great product. You got a couple super teams this year in that aspect as well. So women's basketball is starting to pick up some steam. And I think it's good that we had a tournament like this because, let's face it, we've been talking about it for 48 hours. So, and then we lost Ernest. Luke, what are your thoughts?
I don't know. I'm not going to say it's racist, but I'm telling you right now, if this happens in the men's sport, it's not talked about today.
It's Punch City. That's why.
It's just not talked about. Just because I couldn't tell you how many times I heard today that it just wasn't ladylike to be like that. What are you talking about? What do you mean being ladylike? You're in a heated game, in a national title game, to where both these teams had no business being there. Okay? I'm absolutely going to put every last stretch of time I can into that game and give it my 110%. And I don't care what. I've said some dumb shit on the court. I've done some dumb shit on the court.
Absolutely.
Like, that's nothing compared to what
PG
I've said
from
and
what
done
I
on
do.
the court. Like, now, on the other side, Caitlin
Shout out
Clark,
John Cena.
first of all, she's in Iowa, right? I mean, she is probably going to be one of the best women's basketball players of all time when she's done. Like, if she continues this path, there's no doubt in my mind, in college, she'll be one of the best women's basketball players of all time. And that's what the sport needs right now. They need more women that are being outspoken on and off the court, especially with NIL. So I think it's honestly good to have a little rival. No, I wouldn't even say rivalry, but like
Little bad beef.
camaraderie, I
Conflict.
guess.
I mean,
You know what I mean?
what they're hoping is that in 3 years' time, we're going to see Angel Reese versus Caitlin Clark in
Right.
the WNBA for two franchises that probably haven't had the success of like an LA Sparks, a Vegas Aces, a Phoenix Mercury. They're going to want them to be a part of the Indiana Fever or insert other team name here. So it's great for the women's game there. We're talking about 10 months ago when Devin Booker and Luka are in each other's face talking smack. And then it's like, oh, this is great. I love it. and now we're talking like this is some big issue. Like, they talked smack. She deserved to talk smack because they knocked off Iowa. Well, I'm glad that we're still talking about the women's game in general.
Yes.
Yeah.
So that's where I'm going with it, right?
I agree.
I'm all
I don't
for-
like that it's taken the racial tone, but
No.
Correct.
we knew that was going to happen
For
as it was
those
happening.
watching that don't understand, this is a parody headline. Okay, it's a parody headline. But to piggyback on what you're talking about, Caitlin Clark, like hands down, the semifinal game, one of the best games I've ever seen a college basketball female athlete do. Like
Not just female, male,
yeah,
dude.
just in general.
Incredible.
Like that was Steph Curry stuff in a basketball game. I mean, a pull up
true.
off the transition,
She was nuts.
in your face, 41 point. I mean, it's just nuts. It was fantastic. Like I will tell people,
she's the
my
only
life.
person, men or women, to have a 40-point triple double in
It
the
was
tournament.
insane.
that's crazy. That is
So-
crazy.
That's a lot
that's
of
where
names.
Luke's
That's
point
a lot of
well,
names.
this is gonna translate to the next level, and I agree. I hope that she goes to a franchise, and to be honest, I kind of hope she gets drafted by that team that has had no success, because I think that's going to be the key to actually growing the game. They need more markets because
Some bottom moving teams.
Because like Phoenix has been good for a long time, Connecticut's been good. New York, unfortunately, they lost Ionescu, so that's going to be a little. Or they added people, sorry, so they're going to be an even better team this year. So you're just looking at all these markets that already have established teams. Factor in also the fact that they have this new CBA where they're going to be able to start making a bit more money, because it's sad that the women have to go and play in places like Russia, which is why we got to the Brittany Griner situation.
Right.
That never happens if she gets paid well enough where she doesn't have to go and play in an alternate league. If we can start paying these women well enough where they can just stay here and play in the U.S. and then have a real off season, because they don't get an off season. It's not like the men where they get that 4 months off. They're just hopping over to play the next game in whatever country. So I think this is great that we have two women that, let's face it, made it the most talked about thing in sports for the last 48 hours. People didn't even give a shit about UConn versus San Diego State. So
Nope.
says something.
That is correct. And that takes us to round number 1. We haven't even started our round yet. Let's get that going. We're talking hoops, and we're going to keep the ball rolling with our first and foremost congratulations to the UConn Huskies, a team 5-0 in national championship settings since 1999. We all called it on here. We actually called the finals. So we said UConn and San Diego State would happen with the Final Four. We were excited to see that. Sorry, Florida. I liked all the Florida memes, though, where they had one where somebody was sawing off the state of Florida, and it was San Diego State and UConn together. Thought that was hilarious. We almost took the ITL bracket challenge. I was worried there. If UConn didn't win, we were in first place, but we did not. So, of course, the ITL bracket madness challenge was what it was called. But let's go ahead and take a look at the rankings on where that landed. And then we'll do our shout outs to UConn and what we saw. Huge congratulations. I think A. Morgan is who won, but let's take a look at the bracket. So this is, from Instagram. A. Morgan 06 took it home. San Diego State and UConn in the Final Four, predicted them both to make it, and UConn is champion. That's fantastic.
I think they said that only just over 1,000 brackets total had that final.
That's crazy. Kudos to you.
So then, that's an even bigger shout out to whoever.
0.2% of brackets is actually what they nailed it down to.
That's nuts. That's nuts.
Bananas.
And huge shout out to you. So yes, you absolutely win $100. We talked this morning on Insta. You'll get that on Venmo. Congratulations to you. Appreciate you being a watcher and listener of the show. And we'll reach out later on this evening for how we'll send those funds. So huge shout out to you. But what a bracket challenge. We finished with one Final Four team with San Diego State, and we predicted one finals team with San Diego State. Yes, Andrew, go ahead. Let them know what else they've won.
Yeah, congratulations. You won. Our podcast sponsor for our Boomtown actually gave us some swag to give away for tonight. So I got an FKN Boom shirt that we're going to be throwing in there for you. Our own beer, the Boomtown Pod. Thank you, FKN.
Boom, more swag. Congratulations, A. Morgan. I don't know who you are, so I'm just gonna keep calling you A. Morgan until I know your whole name. But yeah, exactly. We'll reach out to you on Insta and we'll get that address so we can send that over to you. Huge shout out. Let's go back to UConn though, guys. So UConn won each game by double digits. right? Is this one of the most dominant runs of any college basketball team? I mean, it's the most dominant run from my most recent memory.
Nova's run was pretty dominant a few years ago, but I would say I still think that UConn's margin of victory is probably the biggest, if not all time, then like pretty close, because they were 6-0 against the spread all tournament long, and they were pretty much 6 or 7 point favorites like every single game at minimum. So, I mean, but this UConn run's great, but like this was a really disappointing March Madness overall. And I think it's because people actually don't like the upset of March Madness. I think that they like it for day 1 and day 2. And then when they realize, oh, wait, like Alabama's out, Purdue's out, Houston's out, like then they just completely lose interest in the tournament altogether. Like the tournament is built on, hey, yeah, Princeton beat Arizona, but Princeton's not supposed to go and win like multiple games after that. They're supposed to just upset that one team that was maybe a little bit overrated. And then we get a Final Four that has like Michigan State, North Carolina, Kansas, Duke. Like those are, I think, what's going to draw more ratings for a Final Four. Pretty disappointing to have Florida Atlantic, San Diego State, Miami, and then UConn basically running through everybody. Like I think we're going to look back on this tournament as pretty underwhelming.
Coming in from the stands, Reg Huggins says it's not the most dominant run because they did not face the best teams in the country to get there and make the win happen, and they played well, though.
Baby.
But I mean, they're beating teams that beat quality teams. Like Miami beat Texas. Miami beat Houston. So, like, they were clearly, at that time, one of the top.
Peaking better.
Yeah. And Miami went to the Elite Eight last year, so it's not like, they were a 5 seed, but they weren't exactly a fluke overall. FAU, on the other hand, I mean, they got to face a 16 seed in the second round.
Yeah,
so
I was going to be like,
they didn't have to face Duke. They got to face Tennessee, and then they got Kansas State. So the Kansas State win is the one that they can hang their hat on like, that's a really quality win. But
Florida Atlantic almost beat San Diego State, though. Like, that was
they were right
very
there.
They should have.
Yeah,
they should.
I mean, Reg says in Miami had different matchups. They probably don't win. Maybe, but honestly, I thought Texas had it in the bag until the 8-minute mark of the second half.
If they beat Texas and Houston, 2 of the hottest teams in the country, they had to beat Alabama?
They would have beaten Kansas.
They would have beat Kansas. They would have beat Purdue.
Maybe they don't beat Alabama, but other than that, who?
This was a down year for college basketball as a whole. There's no players in that tournament that you were that fired up to watch besides Noel for Kansas State. You got a little bit excited if you were a white dude for Drew Timme. And outside of that, like, no one was really rooting for Brandon Miller given the situation with Alabama. So it kind of left you with the tournament of, oh, so it's just programs.
Yeah.
He says he doesn't think they beat Purdue. I mean, Purdue lost to a 16 seed.
Yeah.
There's no leg to stand on.
I can't. But I was telling Andrew this before the show. I was talking about how ticket pricing just plummeted. Like it was $450 a seat before the Houston, Texas losses. And then it was about $275 a seat. And then Miami and FAU lose, and it was $45 a seat the morning of the national.
I mean, Ernest, you got to think about it. You have to come from San Diego to Houston, and you got to go from Connecticut to Houston. Yeah. And UConn loved it. They said, fuck this. Let's get out of Connecticut for a weekend. Let's fly out to Houston. We'll be happy, kids, for $45.
Yeah. So just plummeted. So again, shout out to A. Morgan. Shout out to UConn Huskies. And that takes us right into our live look NBA Western Conference standings. We talked about this last week. We flirted back and forth with what we were thinking was going to be happening. But let's take a look, right? The Mavericks decided to just not play basketball another week. And so here's where we're sitting. Let's start off with the Western Conference and the Nuggets in a very, very difficult matchup tonight against the Houston Rockets. So we'll take a live look in that game in just a second. But sitting comfortably at the top at the 1 seed. Memphis and Sacramento 2 and 3 looking very nice as well. Not really worried about the rest. Sacramento, did you guys see that landing they had when they came back clinching a playoff spot? They got that nice crowd there. Like they actually won something. When's the last time?
It was awesome.
Sacramento's actually been in the playoffs. Do we know?
2006.
Wow. That's a long time. It's 17 years ago, right? So I had to ask this question. What were you guys doing 17 years ago?
2006.
2006.
Watching Kobe drop 35 a game on a team that was barely 500.
I was in 7th grade.
That
I
was
was
pretty
probably
powerful.
doing homework.
You're doing homework, Luke.
I was watching the Red
Probably.
Wings be good at hockey back then.
You're right.
The Canucks were fairly decent back then
Yeah.
too.
Right, and the Penguins.
I think I was watching hockey. That sounds more
Yeah,
accurate.
it probably sounds about right too.
I think I was watching the end of Jeff Bagwell's career and enjoying the Yao Ming days.
I was watching
Ooh.
Vernon Wells.
Did you have T-Mac yet in 06? You must
Yeah,
have, right?
yeah. It was the year before they
all
went on that
55
winning
games a
streak.
year he played for you guys, but
Yeah.
I was watching.
They were
Doc
stupendous.
Holliday. I was watching Doc Holliday, Alex Rios, and Vernon Wells, the Blue Jays.
This would have been right before the summer we
my
got
Red Sox had just snapped their streak a couple years earlier, and I don't know if Damon was still on the squad then, but I was pretty disappointed when he cut his hair and went to the Yankees and ruined them for me.
That was a bad day in baseball history.
Yeah, terrible day.
Love Johnny Damon.
Reg wants us all to know, just in case he want to get the last word in. Virginia lost to a 16 seed and then won the national championship the very next year. I believe
It
you.
got bounced again this year. Like
They
what
did
are
get
we
bounced
talking
again.
About?
Furman, F
So,
you.
If Purdue wins the national title next
Then
year,
we can have this conversation again.
Yeah.
Then I'm going to shoot Reg a message and say, like, I'm sorry, you
Yeah.
should take my spot as co-host.
Reg, you should come on the show next year, the weekend after the national championship when Purdue wins it all, and just tell us I told you so,
When
and just
Purdue?
leave.
Yeah, that's it. Just a mic drop moment.
They honestly
Please,
might keep Zach Eady, who he was National Player of the Year. Like, shout out to him, the Canadian center. But
He was
I mean,
great.
that again shows how down the year was.
Well,
Zach
when
Edey
they
was
get
National
bounced by
Player.
Bill and Mary next year, I don't want to fucking hear it.
That was
So
not going to be a one
going
seed.
back to the Western Conference standings, Phoenix at 43 wins at the 4th seed. I think that's pretty much a clinch. The Clippers and Warriors fully loaded now, 41 apiece at 5 and 6. And then we get kind of murky here, but the Lakers, where our hypothesis of being the 10 seed and winning the whole damn thing is now kind of gone away. They now have jumped to the 7 seed. They beat a very good Houston Rockets team a couple nights ago, and they looked impressive. And the New Orleans Pelicans is exactly what Kenny wants to see at the 8 seed. This is his top 8. This is what he wanted. Pelicans there at the 8
Oh,
seed.
hey, I did make a good prediction.
You did. Hey, you had one. It is April after all.
What do you mean one? You're talking about the Rockets being a good basketball team, and I'm the ice cold take.
Let me ask you, Kenny. Who else has played the Nuggets this close in the regular season besides the Houston Rockets? They're only down 3.
How long's left?
It's halftime.
There you go.
Let's see. The Thunder are hanging around for some reason, and the Wolves are down there.
Do you remember when we talked about Dallas last week?
Falling off the wagon.
Gosh, here we go.
And
Dallas.
I think you had them in your top 8, didn't you?
I had them as the 8. Yeah,
I had them.
I had them missing.
A few
You
weeks
did have
ago,
them
I
as
said they would be the 8th seed, and boy, oh boy.
They haven't
Well-
won since, Andrew. We appreciate the jinx.
Yeah, you bet.
Can we talk about the fact that this morning on shows they were actually saying that Luka was the problem here?
Yeah, let's grow up. Let's
Yeah,
grow up.
so-
Let's grow up.
So very interesting. Kyrie is actually one of our subheaders again for tonight's show. Reg says the Lakers are going home quickly. Reg, I don't know, man. That's a strong take. We'll talk about that in a second, I guess. But the Western Conference Finals look to shape up. Guys, I think this is a pretty much lock unless something crazy happens to the Pelicans and Lakers. They control their own destiny. I think this is how we're going to stay unless the Thunder decide to be smart and lose a couple of games. But only 3 games left in this season. Do you guys think the Mavericks get it together in 3 games?
No.
They're out.
Their defense is terrible.
I was going to say they're a dumpster
I
fire.
mean, atrocious defense.
Fair. That's fair. Any other Western Conference takes?
Minnesota are still fine. They just had injury issues this year. I think that now that they have Connolly instead of Russell, they'll be better next year.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Because Edwards is going to figure it out. I still don't know why that Gobert trade ever happened, but that's going to be one of those why the hell did they do this segments like 10 years from now. And we're going to be like, why? And OKC, they might even be a part of that segment too of why did we win 38 games this year? Like, this is making no sense for what we're trying to do long term. Pelicans, if they don't have Zion, I don't like Denver's going to bounce them quickly. So hopefully he'll figure it out.
Yeah, I'm very intrigued by what happens with the Dallas Mavericks, but I really need them to make a play-in. Like I do. I need them to win a couple and the Thunder drop just because that first round pick doesn't go to us if they're 10 or lower in the lottery.
Right.
And
Yeah.
I need them to like hang around the teens. That would do wonders for us. But that's my own.
Hang around the teens. That's pretty edgy.
Speaking of America,
so final 3 games for Dallas: Kings, Bulls, Spurs.
You
Two
should
and
They
one.
probably have to
2 and
win
1.
all 3.
You have to win all 3, but you win 2 of those for sure.
Go to the East. Where's Chicago at?
Bulls will
Yeah,
put up a
I'm
fight.
going there next. We're gonna do a live look east. I'm gonna just flash that because it covers Luke's face. Let's flash it back. All right. So in the Eastern Conference standings, scroll up a little bit here. Bulls are at the 10 spot, but
Bulls are pretty much
comfortably.
10.
Yeah, they are not. They are not probably trying to play full.
Well, but to be fair, if they've got 4 games left and they're only a back of 8, they're probably wanting to get it to that 8 spot because then they would have the opportunity to play in the 7-8 game. If you lose, then you can still have a shot at it. So
Somehow
they do have something to play for. It's just whether or not. And the Mavs are at home, so they play all 3 in Dallas.
I didn't know what PB stood for with Toronto, but it's the play-in berth. That's
Pretty
a new
bad.
one. Yeah, pretty bad. Play-in berth. That's what that's called there. And the Bulls need 1 win or a Wizards loss to clinch that, and I'm guessing they'd probably coast out too.
So which one are you guys more excited for? The Raptors to get the 7 seed and lose in 4 to Boston, or to get the 8 seed and lose in 4 to Milwaukee?
I can't wait till we get dusted by Milwaukee. It's gonna be a fucking
sorry. I meant to be on mute there. Sorry, that's fine.
Yeah,
I can't wait.
The Raptor fan says, "Let's take on Giannis."
Remember though, they bought at the deadline so they could get that 8 spot. So shout out to the Raptors.
I cannot wait for that Knicks-Bucks second round matchup.
I remember when we were.
You actually believe that the Knicks are going to beat the Cavs?
I do.
Crazy take.
Interesting.
Crazy.
I don't hate it because of how Brunson's playing, but
Yeah.
I think Knicks. This is so weird to say. The Knicks have more playoff experience.
Ooh, that's
Weird.
By a
strange.
year.
Isn't that an odd statement? But
That is strange.
that'll be a phenomenal series. I mean, Brooklyn. I wish that they would have lost every game since that trade went down.
I have no idea what they're doing.
Because congrats, now you get Philly, who will also win in 4 games.
Yeah, we're
No idea what they're doing.
fucking dusted.
I honestly might parlay Bucks, Celtics, Sixers to not lose a playoff game in the first round.
Raptors
See what
plus
the
money
odds
on
are.
any game.
It's not a bad idea. And Purdue to win a national championship.
Well, you got to rope that in, right?
Yeah, you have to.
You have to.
You have to. Yeah, I think the East is pretty much dominant at the top, except for that 1-5 matchup. It's going to be interesting. All right, so there's your Eastern Conference look, and nothing too crazy in the East like the West. West is just 4 to 10 crazy, just really close. Excited here. Now, I know where Kenny lies on this. I wanted all of us to talk about it though, okay? Because they're obviously.
Were you saying I was saying too much? Okay.
No, not at all. Not at all.
Right.
So, Nikola Jokic, right? He is a possible 3-time MVP here. Okay. I'd love to hear everybody watching your takes as well, because I want to see how unanimous this is, because Kenny is like, duh, Ernest. He is the MVP. I'd like to know what your thoughts are, Andrew and Luke, on Jokic being the MVP this year. Is it him or is it Embiid?
He's the best player in the game. it's as simple as that. I mean, there's not one part of him that's bad on either side of the floor. He's unbelievably talented. That stroke he has is unbelievable. His defense and his basketball IQ is insane. And he's a caliber ahead of everybody else. He is the MVP. 3-peat.
He is. Listen, you look at him and you say, that's the most unathletic looking motherfucker that's ever walked the face of the earth. And then you realize the man's a double-double machine.
Literally.
Like, the man just does. The biggest thing with him is availability. The man is always on the court. He's always ready to play for them. And that's huge I would guess it's a small market, right? Is Denver considered a small market?
I think it's mid.
Ish.
Like ish. So like having a player that is always available, always on the court, never in the newspaper, comes in, is the last one out, first one in, last one out, and does his business. And I think that's pretty huge for them. So
I will say this, right? Just to piggyback your take. I do like the Joel Embiid MVP take. I think he's up there. He's definitely 1-2 for me.
For sure. I'm not taking anything away from him.
I don't even know if I'm sold on Jokic's MVP this year yet. Like I like the villain Embiid thing just because I deal with villain Harden for so long. So I'm kind of liking that villain MVP take. But as Reg shows Embiid in his comments, so I mean it's there. And then says, did he say his defense is great? What game is this guy watching? I'm going to say this. I think Jokic does what he has to with a team of non-all-stars, and it's impressive what he does in the regular season. Harden did it. Harden did the same thing, right? Didn't win this many MVPs. And that arguably Steph Curry stole a couple from Harden. So, I mean, we won't go there. So I'm going to say right now, Jokic is my MVP by a slight margin, because he's played more games. I think that's pretty much my reason why. But Embiid's just as talented.
In wrestling terms, going back to wrestling, heel Embiid is a fun Embiid.
It's tough. It's like all those years, is it Peyton or Brady?
Right.
Like Peyton's always so good. You never take anything away
Tom
from
Brady.
him. But then here comes Brady, the same exact year. He has 4,200 yards. He has this many yards. It's like, it's crazy. I don't know. I don't know too much about basketball.
Okay,
so I'm not
wait.
gonna sit here and like.
Are we gonna say like Jokic is a GOAT then?
If he wins this one, he's up there.
I mean, fuck.
You mean if he wins a championship, not if he wins an MVP?
If he wins a championship, he's up there.
I'm just saying right now he's already a Hall of Famer.
Okay, we're in a whole new stratosphere of this conversation.
I'm not saying GOAT. I'm not saying he's the GOAT. I'm saying we can have the conversation that he belongs.
You can go now, Kenny.
Okay. Blind resume. Player A.
Okay.
33 points, 10 rebounds, 4 assists. He's shooting 54%, 33% from 3. He's the 3rd seed in the Eastern Conference and had an all-star teammate on his team. Player number 2, 25, 12, and 10, 63% from the field, 39% from 3. No all-star teammates, 1 seed in the Western Conference.
You're welcome.
I'm confused who the first player is because if you're saying Joel Embiid has an all-star teammate.
Did Harden not get named a replacement this year?
He did not. He did not get in.
But we're gonna pretend that Harden's not all-star caliber.
I'm not pretending. He's not, according to voters.
NBA, then.
Your Rockets hatred is so funny. We're also gonna pretend that having Harden, Maxey, Tobias is on par with having Jamal Murray, Aaron Gordon, and Michael Porter Jr.
That's so bad.
Honestly, I think I'd take the Denver
Denver
roster.
has won more games than Philly. It's only a single game, but they've won more games than Philly in the Western Conference. And I understand the thought process of, okay,
no one said GOAT.
The East has probably the 3 best teams, right? The East has the 3 best teams in the league this year. So them being 3, like, they're still a very talented team. I just think triple-double, no all-star teammates. Like, we want it to be Embiid because he should have got it last year.
Big time.
Yeah.
Or the year before that. But then he got hurt, so he didn't get it. And so now it's like we're saying, well, Embiid has to be the MVP.
I agree with that, Reg.
Who said?
No one said he's an MVP.
I can't help but agree with that statement, so I'm going to say you're right.
He has a Harden jersey at home.
It doesn't make any sense to me. Like, we're basically giving Embiid MVP because he should have won it previous years. But Jokic is taking his game to a completely another level this year. And now we're just supposed to say, no, you know what? Actually, it's Embiid. Because he's leading the league in scoring. I don't know. I don't think that it's close. I think that everyone wants it to be Joel because he should have won one by now.
And to clear the edge or the error there, Reg, we weren't saying that he is the GOAT. I'm saying he is in the conversation if he wins a championship to be one of the GOATs. I'm not saying
GOAT of what though?
You're talking about like of the position?
Of the position. of his position.
Center is tough, man.
I will say this much: you win an MVP and you win a title, you're starting to get close to top 5.
Close to top 5
because you're not passing Bill, Wilt,
you ain't
Shaq,
passing LeBron or
Kareem. Like if we're talking just centers,
yes,
like
yes.
Hakeem. So it's then a conversation of Hakeem.
What is this guy smoking? That fucking Reg pack. That's what I'm smoking, Reg.
What?
I'm smoking that
You
Reg
like
pack.
that I threw Hakeem in there?
Hakeem Olajuwon is the GOAT, in my opinion.
Of all
So,
time.
Okay.
so I mean, I can't.
You're completely
You just
unbiased.
mentioning Hakeem and Jokic's name is just a fucking insult to the
All
show.
right. Let's move over to NFL so that way Luke can feel included again.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Wait, one last take, though. We got to talk about Kyrie Irving. What's best for Kyrie Irving long term?
Nothing.
Comment your favorite team for Kyrie.
Being on fucking flat Earth.
The Japanese,
That's
what was that? What's that? The Chinese Dragon Stars or whatever the fuck they're called.
Yikes.
Where does Devin
Dwight?
Carter
Him and
go?
Dwight down in the Philippines. Where is Dwight at right now?
Yeah, he's in the Philippines.
Averaging lots of points.
Yeah,
The issue is never his talent. The issue is always everything else that goes along with it. To me, you just refire up and 1 2.0, and Kyrie's your front man. That's it.
Yeah, I completely agree. Kyrie comes drama, but I don't. Do you guys think he stays in Dallas this offseason?
No.
That's gone, right?
Mark Cuban's done with this shit already.
Thank God, because somebody keeps.
The issue then becomes you burn so many bridges along the way that there's probably a small market that will throw a lot of money at him to go out and average 30 a game. But
Chris Paul's got to retire at some point.
At some point, that guy's got to be done.
Yeah, but he's gonna go to Phoenix.
You can go back with KD. I think that shit.
KD and Devin Booker.
Blow it all up.
Wait! I got it.
You know what? Ben isn't it? James Harden isn't it? But Devin Booker's it. So we're gonna actually just set up shop in Phoenix.
Wait! I got it. The sun has set on that kind of thing. Yeah. Yes. All right. Final 30-second take, which means we'll probably talk about it for 5 minutes. Wemby has been making headlines again. Rebounded his own 3-pointer for a slam. Nobody claims they've ever seen that in history across all social media. So, guys, I want to just ask this question, and Luke, you can just make up a team, or if you want to just talk it out, you can. But if Wemby gets drafted in number 1, what would be the best team that could go up there and trade for number 1? Or what would just be the best team in the lottery in general that Wemby could go to? You think he would fit and be an impact right away, make them at least a playoff contender right away? I'll start with you, Andrew. Who do you think Wemby goes to in that lottery section of the draft that would just be phenomenal for Victor Wembanyama?
If I'm the Hornets, I'm trying to trade up. I think he'd be great.
Do you see Victor Wembanyama? So let me ask this first question so I can understand your mindset. Do you see him as a guard, wing, or post player?
I see him as a guard wing on that team.
Okay. So you see him handling the ball?
Yeah.
Okay. What does that do with Lonzo? Wait, no.
LaMelo.
Well, how healthy is LaMelo? Like the guy. That's what I'm saying. Like it's a great position for Charlotte to move up in case they're worried about long-term health, where he can have a ball mover, right? So that's just how I see it. I thought Charlotte's a good fit for him.
All right, Charlotte. Kenny.
Portland.
Don't hate that.
Okay, I can see that. I
don't hate that take either.
But
see that.
The reason why is because Lillard needs something.
Goddamn something.
I mean, the issue for Portland is that they have no cap space to actually do anything, so they need a rookie contract. And you probably don't want Scoot because that's just Lillard's playing a spot. You get Victor, though, you get potentially a second star on a rookie deal, and then Portland, we can start talking about them being relevant again.
Yep, I don't hate that.
I think any Texas team.
Is it because you're all dog shit?
It just meant yes, absolutely, absolutely. I think
sorry,
Houston.
Zach.
If Houston got the one, if Houston got the first pick, it would give them a pick at 1, 2, and 3. The last 3 years, your tank job is done. Hire a new head coach. Harden comes home, and then we all go on our merry way.
Why would you want a not MVP?
Exactly right. Keep that spirit up. Keeps the numbers down. So I think, and then San Antonio, you have Keldon Johnson over there. Pop's going to stay until he dies. And, San Antonio will inch back into the playoffs to get 1 star away from just inching up more. And then for Dallas, you think it's like the second coming of an international player that played very similar to what Dirk did, right?
Yep.
Can shoot the ball, control the perimeter. I just very similar. So I think that's Cuban's game. So any Texas team for me. Luke, last take.
It's actually funny because I was going to say Charlotte.
Oh, nice.
Just because I actually
my guy.
I think Jordan is selling his share, correct?
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah, so they want some new faces down there.
I
so
like
why
that.
not?
And
So
it's to a French businessman too. Okay.
Yeah.
I like that. Wow.
my friend.
We agree. I like that, Kenny. Way to go. Way to go. Orlando for Reg. Reg says Orlando is a place
I don't hate that take.
to go. There you go. Look, Reg.
I
you guys
totally
can be
forgot
friends.
Orlando had a basketball team. I legitimately
Yeah.
forgot.
So
Forget the Magic were a real life
I'm
thing.
only
Yeah.
curious where he's fitting with Wagner, Banchero, and a bunch of other guys that they have already.
You would literally have to outplay Banchero. That's the only spot he gets.
Well, they could play Paolo at the 3 and then him at the 4, Wendell Carter at the 5, but then it starts to get a little clunky. So they'd probably have to move guys out. But if they're moving up in the draft, they probably have the pieces to do it because they don't really care about anyone on that roster
True. Very
outside
true.
of Paolo.
I'll tell you what, every time you guys say Wagner Banchero, it reminds me of a Mexican dish I used to eat back home, but we don't even want to go into that.
Banchero.
Yeah.
Okay.
Pretty crazy. I will tell you guys this. We do have a BCMG stream team. That is right. You can check them out right now on this preview we're about to roll, and then we're going to get right into some...
BCMG that has my show in there?
No.
Okay.
Jill going down the hill. Gonna go fetch Jack in his little pill. Jack feeling down and that's pretty bad. Let's go.
Oh! Yo! Clip that! Clip that headshot!
Nice.
Oh!
A pistol. What? Okay, that didn't count.
Woo! Let's go, baby! Clutch it up! Yeah, I like it!
What? No way. Did that precision just kill me?
Let's go!
Nice, Papa!
Papa with the clutch kill at the end. Let's go.
Oh, I missed. That was bad.
Got him.
Nice.
Man, I'm going to go steal their shit.
That is definitely green.
You're dumb and it's orange.
We're both wrong, red.
I could get that solo if I tried it a couple times, but we'll come back to it.
I'm fucking dick right now. Holy shit. Like, I fucking suck right now.
Yeah, I can tell.
All right. Let's go right into round 2. We're going to hit the gridiron. We're going to talk some football. Luke's getting hyped. Sponsored by PetSmart. PetSmart, where you can get all your pet's needs. All right, Luke, tell us what you got first. We're going to go to Icebreaker. That's right. Last chance trade is what we're going to call this segment. We're going to have some fun with some last-minute trade ideas and where these players could end up as we're going towards the NFL draft. Your favorite players on here. One-word answers for Andrew. Everybody else can absolutely give their take. I'm just kidding, Andrew. Let's start off with you. Austin Eckler.
Miami Dolphins.
Yeah, honestly, Miami Dolphins.
Miami Dolphins. Kenny.
Well, that's not very original. I don't have a team. Come back to me.
Chicago Bears for me. Chicago Bears for me.
Good pick.
Yeah.
Are the
Like
Titans
Forte-ish.
dumping Derrick Henry's dog shit money?
Don't you take my next one.
Oh, sorry.
Take my next one.
Did you send the topics ahead of time and I already
did.
knew that you were going to say Derrick Henry?
I did.
Okay,
Yeah,
that's
check
my
your
bad.
DMs.
Send him to Chicago now that Demont's gone.
Yep.
And he sides with me. That's what I like, Kenny.
I didn't even
Like,
listen to your answer, I'll be honest.
that is so rude,
100%
man.
looking at the team.
So rude. I absolutely said Chicago not even 30 seconds ago.
Okay, well, I guess you're smart for once.
I
You
can't believe
finally
I
got
got
a
one.
good take.
Let's go to somebody we haven't talked about in a long time, Derrick Henry.
The retirement home.
Oh, she's not bad. Stop it. Luke, where's Derrick Henry going?
Arizona.
Oh, okay. I don't hate that take. That's actually a good link too. They've been in talks. Kenny.
Probably some irrelevant franchise like Atlanta because he's leaving an irrelevant one in the Titans.
Yikes. I'm going to say Seattle.
Not wrong.
wait, why is that yikes? Are we pretending like the Titans are good?
Yeah, it's absolutely happening.
They might
Seattle.
be the 4th best team in that division. Shout out to the Houston Texans.
Woo! Wow. Hold on.
I had to give them one. We're
not
one.
Irrelevant.
Houston. Let's go.
We're not irrelevant. Woo! Andrew.
There has been so many rumors to the Dallas Cowboys that I cannot be excited about it. We have the parts, folks, and the cap room.
Why would we want that?
We don't want Derrick Henry.
I want you guys not. I want
running
Derrick
the ball
Henry. Are you
times?
kidding me?
We're running the ball 40 times a game.
I was about to say, you ain't gonna run the ball that
How
fast.
healthy is Tony Pollard?
I don't care. There's a better
Okay,
running
all
back.
right. Who? Malik Davis?
Bijan Robinson.
Oh, we'll get into that.
We
Has
are going
Josh
to get into
Jacobs
that.
signed?
No.
But Derrick
So did
Henry.
Josh Jacobs.
I agree too.
Way rather him in that offense. I don't want to
Arizona,
run
Derrick
back
Henry.
that can't catch a football.
I think Arizona. So I like Seattle too. I think they can offer some pieces and compensation back.
I get where you're coming from with that one, Ernest. It's just Kenneth Walker has that job.
Yeah.
I agree. I agree.
To me, that's
but,
not a by committee backfield. That is a.
But to
Kenneth
me,
Walker's
maybe
gonna
Kenneth Walker goes.
You what?
He's still on rookie deals, though.
I'm just saying. You think you're
Right?
a win now team?
What? And Kenneth Walker was what? The rookie of the year?
I don't know if they're a win now. I don't think they're Derrick Henry away from a Super Bowl.
If he wasn't, then he was second because he got hurt.
You got fucking Pete Carroll, who had the best running back ever and still threw the ball. It doesn't matter who's
That
back
is true.
there.
Maybe he wants his Marshawn redemption. All right, let's go over
Speaking
Lamar
of
Jackson.
retirement home, Pete Carroll.
Yeah.
Oh shit.
We should do head coaches edition next. Lamar Jackson, where's he gonna play? Swear
This
to
deal
God,
doesn't
Andrew, if you
get
say Dallas
done.
Cowboys.
This deal does not get done until Aaron Rodgers gets signed.
Yeah, that's
a fact.
I think this Rodgers thing is just a hold up, man.
A lot of these deals aren't going to happen until Aaron Rodgers is signed.
I've got a producer yelling Dallas Cowboys now.
No, he's not going to Dallas.
Oh, fucking
come on.
Probably the Saskatchewan Roughriders if he keeps asking for
Hey, that's
$250
fine.
million
I'll see him once a
guaranteed.
year. I'll see him once a year. I don't care.
That's funny.
It's a cop out, but I hate Tua, so give me the Miami Dolphins.
Dolphins get another bid for Lamar. That's the Dolphins bid. Let's get some real bids out here. Kenny, who you got?
Washington Commanders.
That makes a lot of sense.
Listen, and I love that.
Although that would ruin my segment from last week when we
would.
actually spent 5 minutes talking about who should start over Jacoby Brissett and Sam Howell.
We
That
did,
was
which
a
is
great
it was a very exhilarating conversation.
I
too.
love that take because I could see Dan Snyder signing him to a max 250 fully
And then
guaranteed,
piecing out.
and then saying,
leaving.
"Fuck you guys, I'm out this bitch with his $1 billion."
I just got bought. See ya.
See ya, bye.
I said this last week. I'm going to stand behind it. San Francisco is where he goes.
No.
San Francisco.
After watching everybody talk about Brock Purdy, even management talking about how much they're invested in Brock Purdy, I'm not buying it. But I mean,
I wouldn't mind seeing him in Kyle Shanahan's office. I mean,
it'd be fun as shit. It'd be a
hey,
fun, it'd be
but
fun
guess what?
shit.
You
I'm
still
just
got
saying
to fucking throw the ball.
It just, that's the thing. You've got weapons, man. You've got weapons on that on that organization that are all.
I like that, Ernest. But the problem is, you have to give up 2 firsts and then sign him. That's a lot of asking for a team that's
true.
That a top 15 team. We'll just say top 15.
If you don't, do you guys know what he wants guaranteed? Is it 250 guaranteed?
It's over. He wants Deshaun money.
That's the men. That's the men
right now.
Yeesh. All right. I mean, fair.
Andrew, who was your team before I move on?
No, I was. There's a couple options. I would love to see him with Denver. I know everybody thinks this Russell Wilson rebuild project. Give me Lamar and Sean Payton together. I think that'd be fucking explosive. I think it'd be a fun offense, but that's just a hot take. That's just a spicy take.
Where?
Denver.
Oh, in Denver. Okay.
With Sean Payton this year, I think they would have a lot of fun.
Outside wild card, just in case the dominoes fall right, Green Bay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They got money.
But the people have to choose it.
I will say that the producers are very pro Texas. I heard Texans being yelled out now. I mean, they're just all Cowboys.
He ain't
Texans.
going to the Texans.
CJ Stroud is going to
it just.
Let's go on. Aaron Rodgers. I have Jets just because I've called this for a while. Does anybody think he's not going to the Jets?
I hope he goes into the fucking black hole because I don't care what happens to that guy. I'm tired of it. It's been 2.5 fucking years with this dude. I don't care about Aaron Rodgers.
I've got a producer yelling Patriots.
Stop.
Patriots.
He ain't going to the
Why would the Patriots want him when they've got Mac Jones and Bailey Zappi in the building?
Here we go.
Also, yeah, he's probably going to the Jets.
Yeah.
Wait. We should segue with that. Mac Jones.
This is perfect.
The Canadian Football League.
Yes.
That's perfect.
Yes. 2-1.
The Canadian Football League.
No, Mac's probably playing New England again.
Yeah, he'll be starting New England.
I will say this much. It would be nice to see him finally stop playing with wide receiver 4s all year long.
Yeah, facts.
Because this whole, we can just have no true weapons that are, number one weapons because we have a GOAT quarterback. Tom's not coming through the door, and at a certain point, you got to draft a Julio or you have to go and pay a D-Hop and actually have a guy that you can rely on.
What do you mean? You got Juju. What are you talking about?
But thinking that Jacoby Myers and Kendrick Bourne and all these other random tight ends,
how dare you
white
not say
tight end
Juju's
name
name
here that
How
they
dare
sign
you,
and then
sir?
it doesn't work. And then they're like, why isn't it working? Well, because we don't have Tom Brady.
I'm going to say Green Bay again. I just think at one point, Green Bay is going to need
I thought that Bailey Zappi versus Mac Jones was underwhelming, and then you said Jordan Love versus Mac Jones, and now that takes it to a whole nother level of irrelevancy.
Yes. Oh, look, this is my wife tuning in right here. Toronto Raptors. Yeah. Way to go, Cal. Way to be a part of the process.
Love you.
Drake's team.
Vegas Raiders, Ernest.
We're going to go to our
Get
final...
the old band back together.
Oh, Vegas
Everybody.
Raiders. Okay.
Garoppolo, Jones, McDaniel.
Everybody's there.
Yep.
We're going to go to our final segment, which is our final take here, which is going all Texas Longhorns. We're going to talk about it. Where does Bijan Robinson end up? Where does he get drafted in this draft? We've seen the hype, right? We've seen everybody say nobody needs a running back first round. He's going to drop to the second. We've seen that he could get taken as high as a top 10 pick, as low as a bottom 2 pick in the first round. So each of us have our different opinions of where he's going to go in this draft. I know it. I just know it already. So let's start around the room. We're going to go Andrew, Kenny, Luke, me in this scenario. And if you need a breakdown on the order, I have the order in front of me. I can reiterate what that order is. Just let me know. But Andrew, I'll start with you. Where do you think Robinson ends up first, second round? Maybe doesn't get drafted. Whatever you think.
He's going to go in the first. I was kind of secretly wishing everybody would just shut the fuck up about him so that he would just drop to 26 for us. But apparently the media has just blown this guy wide open. And he's talented as shit. Don't get me wrong. Look at his stats. It speaks for themselves. He's a great runner and can catch out of the backfield, which is something that's also, really relevant in today's NFL. So there are a lot of teams that are buying for a decent catching running back. Believe me, the Buffalo Bills are up there. I mean, the Cowboys are up there. Pollard's great. Again, the whole thing about him not being healthy really, really scares me to start the year. So why not start with Robinson? What hurts? You still got a great offense there. Why not? So I would like to see him fall to 26 to our laps, but I wouldn't be surprised if he gets taken in the first 15.
So you have him as a top 15 pick.
I do.
Year. All right, Kenny.
He is going to get drafted at number 10
by the Philadelphia Eagles,
who just got rid of Miles Sanders. Makes sense.
Didn't they bring in somebody?
Not that I remember.
Yeah, they did. Who the fuck did they sign?
I mean, it depends on
Ezekiel Elliott.
Yeah.
No.
That was a hilarious April Fool's Day joke.
Rashad Penny. Rashad Penny got signed.
And we're convinced that that's the move, eh?
Yeah,
That's a big move.
Whoa, Rashad Penny, that blows
A
the
penny
division
saved is a
wide
penny
open.
earned. A penny saved is a penny earned. Okay.
Yeah, coming from his health insurance.
Yeah, fact.
Yes, that's very true. Affleck. All right. Luke, where do you see Bijan Robinson
Tennessee
going?
Titans at 11. No more Derrick Henry. Move on to Bijan Robinson.
Don't hate that pick.
I guess that would be very true.
But
actually
honestly,
really
Ernest, you're going to take a quarterback at 2, and then you have a pick at 12. I can see him going at 12 to you.
Oh, you're thinking I'm thinking Texans right now.
11, 12.
Okay.
Tennessee doesn't take him. Houston takes him at 12.
I think
Houston
if he
won't, though, because he got Damon Pierce. There's no
Damian
way.
Pierce. I don't know
There's
if
no
they.
way.
I don't know if they do it. I think they'd have to really. They'd have to.
It's a
really...
dumpster fire franchise, Ernest. They're going to do it. What are you
But
talking
Damian
about?
Pierce
I
wasn't
don't
a
think they
dumpster
think
fire.
that though. I don't think they think that.
That's what they all say, Ernest. That's what they all
The
say.
Texans
I don't
are
think
probably
they think
just
like that.
thinking about that two-headed rushing machine that's going to lead to 3 or 4 wins next year, and that's just too enticing.
I mean, if you're the
Kenny,
Houston
you're not on mute.
Texans,
You're not on mute. You gotta
if
hit
you're
the
a-
mute button.
Sorry, 1 quarterback, 2 running backs, 3 wins.
It's the classic triple option. What are you
it's the
talking
1,
about?
2, 3. It's the 1, 2, 3
Yeah.
punch. So I'm thinking that if you go past 12 and you're not drafted and you're Robinson, right? The Jets don't need you. The Patriots don't need you. The Packers don't need you. The Commanders don't need you. The Steelers, unless they're not sold on Najee,
Which is crazy.
It's
if
not
those
that.
rumors are true.
I'm not sold on Warren.
I was gonna say.
So
Jalen
as a
Warren.
Steelers fan, if Robinson is on the board at 17, are you wanting him?
No.
You guys need defense so fucking
We have
Okay.
we need
Okay.
more O-line, D-line help than anything.
So then it
And
takes me
corner.
to the fun pick of Detroit, because Detroit has David Montgomery
And DeAndre Swift.
and DeAndre Swift, which they've been hanging
Which I
out
see
there
Swift
as a
not
trade
being
pick.
there.
They let Jamal
Yeah.
Williams go, so there's no way Swift's gone.
So is Bijan the guy for Detroit?
I don't think so.
I don't think so.
So then
Just-
Tampa Bay.
What
Tampa
Bijan
Bay
does
is
is
also
exactly
a
what
team.
DeAndre Swift does.
I can see Tampa.
Tampa doesn't have a quality running back.
They're
They
so
don't
fun.
have a running back in general. I don't think.
Oh, I forgot. Disrespect to Ronald Jones, who's a Cowboy. I totally forgot
Yeah,
about that.
Rojo. Yeah.
And then the Cowboys would be the next one up on the rest of the list. That would need just a couple.
Rojo
segments.
isn't
But
going to make fucking train.
I'm gonna say if he is not picked up from 10 to 12, that from the 10 pick or the 12 pick, he falls down to 17, 18.
But
And
this
either
is
somebody trades up or one of those two teams take him.
this is that Lamar thing too, right? Where people are like, "Hey, Lamar might go in the first 5 picks," and they drop to 32, right? And I mean,
this
this
all.
is one. It just
Eagles might scoop them at 31 or 30 or wherever they're at.
you never know, man.
They'll
30
probably
and-
replace one of either the O-line or the DBs that they lost, and
in
then
the first
they'll just
pick, yeah.
Yeah,
30th.
And
they'll pick
it
them
all
up.
depends on Eckler too.
True.
If it drops it further, Eckler's not that far off.
Fuck, does
They could
Eckler go to
replace
the
him.
Eagles?
That's a great take.
Yeah.
Los Angeles trades up to the 10,
Get the Eagles pick.
or even they trade up to the
And
11.
the Chargers or the Rams?
No, I'm saying the
The
Chargers,
Chargers.
make a move, and they send Eckler to Philly. I think he fits perfect with that offense.
I mean, he
Yikes.
does. It's just crazy to me because
It's
Kareem
going to
Hunt's
cost a
still
lot
out
to
there.
move up and do
Yeah.
that.
There's
Yeah.
still a lot of quality running backs sitting at home right now. So
Either way,
Kareem Hunt is still not picked up. Like, what's going on?
right, I get it, but
He took
he's
up
28.
soccer.
He needs to go to the. He needs to go.
Oh,
to the
sorry.
Rams.
I'm not on mute again.
the
Damn
mute button's not working today.
it. Mute button. Damn.
Cancel culture,
He
we
needs
love
to
you.
go. He needs to go to the Rams to resurrect his career.
Did we
And
talk
the
about how
Rams
racist?
need a running
Is he
back.
going to go resurrect the Rams that are on life support right now?
They are on
They need.
dire
I
life
mean,
support.
they have
honestly
aged
they're gonna
quickly.
stink for the next 5 years.
We say
minimum.
that, but hopefully, if Stafford's healthy and Kupp's healthy and Akers can finally figure it out,
And
I mean, they
don't
might
have
be okay.
they don't have Jalen Ramsey on that defense anymore.
Was he
True.
the guy on that defense though?
Well, I mean, Aaron Donald is, but that changes your entire secondary.
True.
Now.
It's very true.
If
Yeah.
you shut down one side of the field, that kind of changes
Where
a lot.
5% of catches happened, by the way.
Yep.
I'm not even saying that Ramsey's like the best corner in the NFL. I'm just saying like he's top whatever, and that kind of changes a lot. And then you got Kupp coming off an injury. Stafford's not the same. Like this is going to be not a great team, I don't think. They may be a playoff team in the NFC strictly because the NFC stinks.
I was going to say they might fluke out actually.
Talent perspective, but it doesn't mean that they're like going to any Super Bowls anytime soon or even NFC Championship games. Like. They should be going full on rebuild and trying to recoup some of these first rounders that they lost. I mean, if I was the Colts, I would have been trying to call this offseason to see what's wrong with Stafford because we already took on the last 4 washed up quarterbacks, so we might as well add a 5th one to
Why not a 5th?
Makes sense.
Well, they eventually just have to eat a season. Like
the Colts,
they're doing it this year. It sounds like
they just have to.
Well, the Colts are going to probably draft Levis or Richardson or Stroud or whoever they decide. Like they're going to. They'll go QB.
Honestly, I think
Will Levis is probably the quarterback.
The future quarterback of the Colts is already on the team.
Are you talking about
Sam Ellinger, the ghost of Christmas past?
He's not even the best Sam in the NFL, and I'm including Sam Howell.
Yikes! You meant quarterback-wise, because obviously Sam Williams for Dallas is the GOAT. Sam.
No.
Why would we just card out fucking Tommy Maddox out there for you?
Sam Howell's winning 4 games this year, just one more than the Houston Texans.
Hey, you got Zach Wilson.
Stop it.
Zach Wilson will be your quarterback for Cracker Jacks and a fucking.
So what do we? So what do we think the Vegas line then is on the Houston Texans win total this year? Is it 4.5?
5.5.
3.5.
You think it gets to 5.5?
5.5.
I think 5.5. That division.
And I'm hammering you.
Very honest number.
Is it before or after DeAndre Hopkins comes back?
Well,
D-Hop's got to go somewhere because it's not going to be Arizona.
Yeah.
If it's 5.5,
another domino.
If it's 4.5, I'm probably not playing it because I think it could be 4.
Well, this all starts with Rodgers.
Like, yeah,
once that domino falls,
you just need the domino to fall, and then everyone else.
Yeah. All right, guys, that's today's episode. It was fun. It's always a blast with these guys. Let's go around the room. Luke, we're going to start off with you. Tell everybody where they can find you and give your PSA.
Listen, you can't find me anywhere right now because I'm not on social media right now.
Boom.
So
Blackout.
I'm going media blackout for a while.
Love that.
So you can find me on my podcast on Mondays. I think we usually drop it. And yeah, that's about it. That's for me and Thor.
Yay. Hi, Thor.
Brought to you by PetSmart. Drink your Ovaltine, kids.
Love it. Andrew, you gave out the swag tonight. Tell people where they can find your show.
Yeah, we're back tomorrow. Had a little bit of a break there, just some life stuff. So we're excited to come back. We're going to recap a crazy bunch of news that's happening on the Boomtown Pod. Obviously, you can find us on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, you name it, we're there. Yeah, we got a big fight card coming up this weekend. So I'll have some spicy picks for you guys. We're going to talk a little bit of betting. We're going to talk a little bit of odds. We're going to talk about a huge announcement when it comes to the UFC and the WWE. Stay tuned for all of that.
So are we talking like spicy pictures?
I could send a
spicy picks.
Find me on Feet Finder. It's at Andrew needs money at Feet Finder.
Yes.
Shout out Feet Finder.
That's perfect. Kenny Cotterell, co-host of ITL Season 4. Talk to the people.
I'm not on Feet Finder. Don't go. Back tomorrow for another episode of the show. Trivia tomorrow night we're recording, so Thursday night trivia drops. Another episode Friday, Monday, pretty much every day of the week. So appreciate you having me on, Ernest, as always.
Kenny, it's always a blast to have you on. You and just such your colorful antics on the show. I'm your host, Ernest Silva, hopefully your favorite host of ITL. We appreciate you guys. Powered by Blue Collar Media Group. Catch us Tuesday night, 7:30 p.m. like you already do. Podcast episode drops on Thursdays. We appreciate all y'all. Thank you all so much for your support. Thank you for competing in the tournament challenge. Good luck to your NBA teams ending the season out. For those using the NBA playoffs as fantasy football draft metrics, pick your teams wisely this year. It's a crapshoot. It's a wild west. So good luck. And we will see you guys next week, same time. Have a great one, y'all.